Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 528, and today we're doing battle with Morgana Udyr. And so welcome to 2024, welcome to the new year, welcome in a little bit of New Year Udyr, if you will. And so, with the shenanigans aside, Morgana Mage Seeker Inquisitor has been one of the most complained about and most popular things running throughout the course of the game here in recent memory. In my opinion, the Morgana Galio Elder Dragon deck that's running around just isn't that good. I don't think that it actually takes advantage of Morgana and the Mage Seeker Inquisitor in the best ways that you can. It's just the way that people kind of discovered that these cards are exceptionally powerful, and we should probably be playing them more than we actually are right now. But in my opinion, there's two major things that you're really looking for when you're trying to take advantage out of these curse-based units. You either want to be making big tempo plays with it, so we're playing some kind of big curve to where we have a unit on 1, a unit on 2, a unit on 3, and a unit on 4. Then on turn 4, as we've dropped that Mage Seeker Inquisitor, the opponent is now having to make the decision. Do I want to develop units on the board? Do I want to deal with this curse? If I don't deal with this curse, I can't play any combat tricks within this unit-heavy board my opponent has presented. Your opponent has to then either, go for the curse so they can interact, not play a unit, or they just have to give up their ability to play spells, giving you that knowledge option that they can't do anything. That compounds into the next turn. Your opponent plays their 5-drop unit, you hit it with Morgana, they can't use it until the next turn. Absolutely fantastic. And so that's the kind of core and key way to do it. But I think coming in with this Udyr style of package is another fantastic way to give it a go, in the sense that if we're getting our Udyr down on turn 5, that gives the opponent the opportunity to add in another big unit, and then you need to be able to play a combat trick to take down their big play. But if we're playing fair, right, if we're just going back and forth and spending our mana in the same way, our opponent's just gonna have the mana, right? But if we're able to drop a curse, then as we play Udyr on turn 5, our opponent has to hopefully make the decision of, do I want to add the bigger unit and maybe just trade with Udyr, or do I want to forego playing a unit so I can start to cast spells on him? It's a very tempo-esque kind of play that gives your Udyr the chance to scale. The other thing that I really like about this deck, in the sense of playing against Morgana, Galio, Elder Dragon, is that the Elder Dragon deck is not particularly interactive, right? They do have the same challengers that we do in Petricite Broadwing, Mage Seeker Inquisitor. They do have the 2 damage spike coming out of the Enraged Flamespitter. They have the strike spell, the Gentleman's Duel, but that's it, right? They don't have a fantastic collection of ways to deal with something like Udyr, or deal with a stance-swapped Petricite Broadwing. And it gives us the chance that if you can deal with their one spell, then you should be in pretty good shape the remainder of the game. And so that's the kind of big core idea of playing Morgana Udyr on the whole. The other things that I really like about this deck is getting a +1/+1 on Mage Seeker Inquisitor is pretty bonkers. Having that 4/3 tough unit that can now attack down our opponent's 3/3s and survive is amazingly strong. And so we do have the Omen Hawk, Snow Dog, Darkened Spear package to help put the boosts in on our units throughout the course of the game. And then we also have the stances that can be added in as well. The most common one that we're going to be looking for is putting the Regenerate stance onto Petricite Broadwing. If the opponent only has access to one removal spell, and we're able to fight our way through that removal spell, just having this big regenerating formidable unit is incredibly challenging to deal with. And so I like the addition of the packages coming in like that. But the big kind of combos that we get out of adding in Udyr is he combos exceptionally well with Morgana, in the sense that he generates targeting cards, right? Generating stance swaps can then be cast onto our units to help level up our Morgana faster. And then they both love the strike cards, right? If you're not familiar with how a strike interacts with these champions, if you want to imagine us casting a single combat, we target our unit and the opponent's unit, so the single spell gets 2 targets for Morgana. And if we are striking with Udyr, then he's going to be generating stance swaps or cheapening up the cost of the stance swaps. And so we have this large amount of kind of cyclical value that come out of the strikes. We also get some super powerful stuff happening out of cards like Cataclysm. We can Cataclysm an Udyr for that strike ability. We can put a Overwhelm stance onto something to get a damage-based strike coming in. We can Cataclysm off the Anaka from the Darkened Spear. We can Cataclysm Morgana if she's flipped to get extra usages out of her curse spreading thing. Just a big load of awesomeness coming out of that. Last but not least, the final thing to call out of this is we're playing Champion Strength. I think this meta is not adapting to champion strength very well. It does not handle a full board particularly well. And so as you play this deck, keep in mind that we are building up towards champion strength, so you don't really want to just trade away your units if you can avoid it. There's a lot of tempting places to just trade away Omen Hawks, and if we can kind of keep our board bigger than our opponents', then we're always going to be generating bigger champion strengths. And so that's it. That's the deck we're doing battle with today. You regulars know that we do love coming in and pay that pay-to-win price, but the Demacia Freylord deck's already paid up. You should know that by now. Everything in here already premium, except Morgana. I had to check for that. Morgana's not premium yet. I can't remember if she was the one that turns premium off of the event pass or not. It might have been Mordekaiser. I typically go and look, and it's probably Mordekaiser because I've literally played maybe one game of Mordekaiser this season, and I've definitely made 0 videos for him, and so it's not something that we have up and running. Alright though, first battle up against the Norra version of the Elder Dragon. We'll keep our early game stuff where we can. I do want to have some kind of way to interact with the Norra. We got it doubly here with the Broadwing and the Badger Bear, and then otherwise we just want to find some kind of unit boosting cards in the early game. They didn't turn up, but the Broadwing Badger Bear should be pretty good here. And then this is a matchup to where they don't have a fantastic way to deal with a regenerating Broadwing, right? They can play Mini-Morph on it if they're still playing answers to Mordekaiser. They can play their Lord Broadmane and a removal spell, but outside of that, you know, they don't have Vengeances. They don't have a ton of great ways to try and take that big regenerating unit down. So we'll see if that comes up. I mean, we have the Wanderer and the Udyr in hand. We're going to be getting up to stances here fairly quick. Be interesting to see. Alright, he drops the bomb on our bird. It's okay. We'll see if we can't cycle around to make him more effective in a few turns from now. Very expensive hand, though.
Let us take a peek at life beneath the waves.
It's very likely he has the way to kill this Broadwing. Curious to see if that comes about. Looks like he's going to be trying to cast the Explorer Quicksand onto the Badger Bear so that he can get his attack in with Norra. We have to, unfortunately, single combat a little preemptively if he wants to try and do that. And man, this is one of these spaces to where, if you're not familiar with Udyr, the Udyr flip is the Spirits Unleashed. Opponent is developing a board that gets hit by it pretty hard. He's already got 2 1-health units up and running, and so it's not too crazy to think we might find a way to get a strong Spirits Unleashed in this game. We'll see how this goes. Like, we're definitely attacking with Udyr this turn, and we need to go ahead and stance swap him to get that up and running. The thing that's a bit worrisome is I don't want to invest too much into this Udyr and then have him just get blown up by Lord Broadmane. Now, we do have an interactive way to deal with the Broadmane in the single combat, so it's not like unreasonable to think that if an opponent plays Broadmane, we can just single combat him down. It takes a lot of fast spells to shut that down, but you know, we're also kind of facing down Norra over here. Would like to have a bit of an answer to her if we could. Why did he drop that on our Udyr? Just to take off the regenerate? So that's just most certainly a Lord Broadmane coming in, right? I don't think this attack with the Badger Bear is good either. Let's just give this a little bit of time. We can still pretty safely build up to champion strength and not worry about this too much. But I'm amped even more about the Spirits Unleashed now that he's got the 3 1-health units on board. Just finally giving us a way to get that clear and punch in a bunch of combat damage next turn is going to feel pretty good. I miss this card so much. Oh, fucking really? Saiyan Thousand Tailed for this turn? The counter spell to the Spirits Unleashed? He didn't know. There's no way he knew that this was going to be a thing. Fucking fine. God, that's such a bummer for the turn. Alright, so let's see how this goes. We get the stance in hand. I do want to go ahead and just add in Morgana. It's a safe hit over onto Norra. Just keep her out of combat. And then we'll see what we can do from here. We don't have to worry about getting killed too much. Like, if we could just get the Vanguard Defender off of the board, that's probably enough. Like, I still have concern that he's going to just play Lord Broadmane next turn onto Udyr, and we don't have the answer. But we don't really have the wherewithal to punch in through all these 1 health units. So we will want to take the Vanguard Defender off the board if we can. I don't want to get Udyr involved in this combat. He's just going to die, right? We have what looks to be a safe block onto this Portal Pioneer, but he's not going to survive the turn. Opponent has a million cards in hand. They're going to have a way to deal a point of damage. So let's just take down the Vanguard Defender. It's his only unit that will survive the Spirits Unleashed. These should count as targets, right? Just to just to boost our Morgana. That's what sounds fair to me. So this should be pretty good. Again, wouldn't be surprised to see Lord Broadmane come down and target our Udyr. Just not really anything we could do about that.
We are all seeking an end to war, friend.
Goes for the heal. Okay. So Norra is still immobilized at this point. We don't have to worry about her. I think I'm pretty okay with just trying to throw away our units. Like, if we get Broadmane in front of Morgana, I think that's okay. Just send with everybody. We can do a 1 damage stance swap if we need to. Or do we want to just build toward champion strength next turn? Maybe that's the more appropriate angle here. It's been so weird he hasn't cast any of his, like, pie tosses, right? I can't imagine, like, Morgana and Badger Bear particularly safe here. I think this is probably enough. The follow-up Morgana should still be pretty strong. Here they come. Yeah, so this is why I'm just uncertain if we were too aggressive with that single combat. Like, should we have just let him have the Saiyan Thousand-Tailed so that we could stop this Lord Broadmane? I don't know. That's pretty close. We can still build up to the champion strength, though. Got these big-time Morganas rolling through. Fuck.
I have found such beauty in mortality.
Alright, Conchologist comes in. Don't suspect there's going to be any attacks happening this round.
We will show them where their spells can help.
Does still have the perilous pastry to shoot at something. Looks like he's going to be taking Morgana down. So I think that's fine. I'm just kind of looking now towards putting the stance onto the Broadwing and then coming in with another Morgana next turn. We got to keep spending this mana somewhere. The other thing that we can kind of look at is everybody tends to forget about Ram Stance. And so we do have that opportunity to 1 damage AoE. We might find a way to take this Conchologist down off of the board. Allseer is pretty big. It's kind of like in that same vein. We can potentially get him on board. Like, I'd like the opportunity here to just take the Broadmane down with the Arpetricide Broadwing, but if that fails, I'm not certain we can ever really recover out of this. Let's just add in our big boy and see what happens. Right? If he plays a 6-mana dragon, I don't think it's that big of a deal. So scary though, playing, trying to play ram stances against Lord Broadmane. Say, all right, I'll just activate your guy. You're welcome. Okay. See where else that mana spend is going for the turn. I mean, he does have the decent block onto the Allseer right now. We're only looking to deal about 9 points of damage. He opens up Norra as a blocker. Okay. So I'm looking to say do this. I wonder if... I'm trying to think of how safe it is in terms of... I want to put Overwhelm stance onto our Allseer. But I don't want to be all in on him. So let's put a boost onto our Omen Hawk. It's our weakest unit at this point. I think it's fair. We could put one of these. We can put the big thing onto the Allseer. If he's got... It's not unreasonable to think that they have 2 removal spells at this point, but we'll just have to see.
Persistence is key.
Group shot Pytos or something coming in on the onto the Allseer to get him taken off board. Okay. I was wondering if it would come down to this kind of space in the sense that I was considering putting the regenerate stance on the Allseer, but if it gets popped by the 2 combat tricks and is just dunzos, right? He's gone at that point, and so I was a little hesitant to spend 2 spells on it. It was like even if he gets to attack, our opponent probably still survives the turn, and I just wasn't quite willing to go in on that. We should be in pretty decent shape now, though.
Ionia misconstrues our noble intentions.
He gets the second Broadmane, that's okay. I'm just curious at what speed we want to drop this Morgana. I probably just have to send her in now. If she gets to attack next turn, it's such a big deal, but it looks it looks pretty sketchy when you're like, all right, I'm going to start casting Inner Beast. But we'll see. If he wants to block with a Broadmane next turn, he has to cast his spells now. And then, of course, we would get the Morgana curse as soon as she opens. And so I would imagine if he had a set of removal spells, he would have just snapped it off. Yeah, we don't see that come in. Broadmane's going to get tagged by the Morgana. So what I'm going to look to do here, I think we just want to boost up our smaller units, right? We're going to attack. Morgana's going to pop the Broadmane. We can hook Norra out of combat with the bird, and then we'll get to deal 2 from Morgana. Like I'm looking at just this. I want to go ahead and play +2/+2 onto our guy. It may not be relevant enough. That's tough. Oh, we'll see. we either win on this attack or the game is done, and so there's no way we're doing anything after this attack. I was kind of hoping here with our draw we can at least pick up, say, like a Cataclysm for Morgana and get the chance to attack again, but unnecessary. GG. Well played. On to the next one. Oof.
Our suffering was not in vain.
Our suffering was not in vain. Getting them with the Udyr, but that's tough, right? With the Broadmane space, I think that was the big decision in the game. I'm still not certain that was the way to go about it on that Saiyan Thousand-Tailed, because you could just see how important the Broadmane is, especially as we're out here trying to stance swap Udyr and stuff, right? Getting that big unit developed. Their removal is shitty without the Broadmane, and they don't have a good answer, and so Like the only way that they kind of spike through that is they play their broad main, target a unit, you try to single combat the broad main, then they have to have 2 fast speed spells to back hit him. And we didn't necessarily see that there. Alright, into the next one though, up against Ahri Kennen. Fairly aggressively oriented deck coming at us. I'm be curious this game to see if we can't find a good space to get in a ram stance. Again, you got to remember these ram stances as you're playing Udyr. It's not a champion you see a ton of, so your opponents tend to play pretty poorly into him. And it's not unreasonable to think our opponent won't develop this big board full of dancing droplets and avenging Vestias and the like, and then just get all their units domed by the AoE spell.
What could you ever
See,
teach?
we're getting close here, aren't we? I'll go ahead and add in Omen Hawk. It's pretty tough to pull off, so I don't think we'll have high expectations of getting it, but I mean, this is the spot, right? He's already got his 2 units on the board. Picking up Inner Beast means that we could Inner Beast the Omen Hawk and then just go for the spell. I don't think the board's good enough at this point. Let's just add in the Wanderer. See if he stops and reads the cards and says, "One moment, please." that can kill all my dudes. I don't appreciate that. Alright, this is safe enough. Very easy for him to have some kind of recall at this point. We'll probably take an extra 2 points of damage from the Blade Twirler, but I don't want to give it to him for free off the Disciple. Oh, interesting. All right, let's just pass the mana. We can't play any of these units at this point. We'll see if Udyr comes down next turn and gives us the free stance. We do have gigantic units on top of our deck, right? We've got 2 Snow Dog attacks in, 1 Omen Hawk, and we haven't drawn any units at this point, so whoever's on top's going to have +3/+3. Big boy Omen Hawk. Unfortunately, does not play on curve very well, but I think we might get a chance to just drop him next turn. Let's make sure we spend a bunch of mana this round.
Our ancient enemies are returning.
Then, young fox, lead us to their heart.
So again, this is like another one of these places to where it kinda sucks to get really invested in this Udyr. Now I think it's a bit safer. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and stance the Udyr. The thing is, like, if he gets recalled, that's where it feels pretty bad, but I don't think this deck plays Homecoming. Is Homecoming even still in Standard? I don't know. Just don't know what to tell you on that one. But if he gets concussive palmed or something, that's completely fine. And then again, another space to where we could potentially build up to a pretty interesting ram stance, as we've got all of these 2 attack units on the board. And if he starts blocking with Blade Twirlers and Pathless Ancients, it does give us the space to 1 damage down everything. He doesn't have concussive palm mana anymore, so it looks like this is going to be a Kennen block and recall. Okay.
Underestimate. I dare you.
I have studied every fighting manual.
Looks like he's going to take down the Wanderer. Did we die? did we fuck this up? What do we got here? We got like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's a good chance we come in and lose our Udyr. He probably fucked this up. He's opening, isn't he? I got too hyped by the opportunity for the big play.
This is our path.
All right, let's step in with the Udyr. He's gonna play a combat trick here. He's gonna play a recall or something, and then we can follow up with our single combat. Oh, it didn't happen. Okay, then let's see what we can do. We have 1 health to play with these ram stances, so let's see if that's enough. Sure.
Act natural.
Quit recalling your 1 health units, bro. recall your conspirator.
Your Osir will nothing kill you.
Your foul smell might kill me, Udyr.
Play your droplet. He's not doing anything we ask. Alright, so yeah, this game's probably done. We got exceptionally aggressive with this. We should have probably just inner beasted the blocker in front of the blade twirler, but I had the big plays lined up in my head, and I really really wanted to go for it. So let's see what we can do. We still got Udyr ready to crash out here, and holy shit, that's the answer right there, huh?
I shall
Say,
show
just
them
give me an 8-attack lifesteal unit. That'll fix all of our problems. That'll fix every single fucking one of them. So let's see. We can't play any of these other cards. We got to keep this single combat mana up for our Morgana. But LOL, that's pretty good stuff right there, right?
They fall from the mountains.
You call that sneaky? Don't want any trouble.
Oh, we get to gain all the health and kill all the units? Oh man, that feels good. You gotta like that. Now we can get back to dropping ram stances and killing off all of his dudes.
for now.
Is that where we want to be? Let's just pass. I want to see if he'll tap down a little bit more mana before we try and drop Omen Hawk or before we try and drop a stance swap. Now we're safe to go to 1,000,000 health. Definitely want to do this off the Morgana to gain 8. It feels much better now. It's like there's still a reasonable chance to just get OTK'd by Ahri, but I gotta feel like it's just tough to do with opponent only having like 2 or 3 cards in hand. He would specifically need like 2 or 3 elusives and an elixir of iron or something, or an elixir of wrath or something to fight through that. Top decking like a boss. That's the way you just gotta do it sometimes, you know? When our opponent does it, it's bullshit, but when we do it, it's awesome. that's the way it's meant to be. If opponent does it, it's just bullshit. Luckiest guy on the planet. If we do it, planned it. Planned it that way. That was the way I meant for it to go the whole time. Just having 8 power life stealers on top of the deck. Picking up the single combat to survive when we need it. It's the good stuff right there. Alright though, next battle up against Nilah Janna. Vulpine Wanderer is not a particularly good early game play, but we have to have something, right? We can't be going into turn 4 with nothing on the board, and so we'll take it just to make sure we have something to fill the curve, but not really excited about this start. Looks like he's playing this more aggressive version that the Talpinator brought to Worlds. Wouldn't surprise me if it was the exact same one. If you're not familiar, he's not playing Sunken Temples, and he has the more aggressively oriented stuff in here, like the Master Lookouts. I'm good with Badger Bear.
No, my stuff isn't food like it wasn't yesterday.
What's the path?
So let's just play this a little defensively, right? We have this really strong, like, build up of a hand here between already having Udyr and having Morgana. The opposing deck just does not have good answers to Udyr. And so I think that we can make something work with this. We could technically take this Janna off board, but I think it'll be okay to let him get 1 turn of the reduced costs.
Storm unrelenting.
Our ancient enemies are returning.
Then, young fox, lead us to their heart.
So let's see how that mana spend looks. What I I think we'd ideally be able to do is to get this Udyr attack in, and then
Lift us up
Ooh, let's
upon
see.
your mighty wings,
see.
old friend.
I think he's safe. Like, what do we think about, like, the one thing I have in mind is we're looking to say Cataclysm Janna, but like his deck is very good at dealing. He's got nothing to say. I felt like we could probably deal with 5, right? We could get into combat with Janna and then have the Ram survive, but he's definitely got the removals here. I think we can still fight through this fine.
My vortex shall consume you.
He doesn't have any mana left at this point. And so do we want to say Cataclysm the Badger Bear into Janna, or do we want to Inner Beast the Broadwing into Janna? I'm leaning towards the Inner Beast. Like, I've really been trying to preserve this Badger Bear to keep his elusives at bay. And I think that this is just a little bit safer. It kind of sucks to give up on the combat trick, but a 2 health Broadwing is still pretty combat ready. Not so much on the blocking side, but on the attacking front, it can still take down these important units. I mean, let's be real. We can we can't potentially just go into the next turn and play champion strength. That's always on the table. Our blocks this turn aren't very good, though. Alright, let's lead with the Broadwing. It can get a shutdown on Maryam.
No, my stuff isn't food like it wasn't yesterday.
It's like I want to make a 4/4 out of the 2/2 that we have, but just getting the Mystic Shot here would be pretty brutal.
Let's see how you handle this.
I think 10's safe. We have Morgana with a Cataclysm in hand. We're gonna gain a ton of health back. We could even look to start casting stance swaps on Morgana if we want to.
Where do you stand on cold shots?
Okay. I think we're good. Like, these decks tend to not have a bunch of burn options as well, so I think we're good looking at that.
I have found such
So I'm going to drop the
beauty in
Morgana onto the Master Lookout. I want to hook Vikrash with the Broadwing. I want to hook the Windborn Mariner with the Broadwing, and then still have his weakest board possible in terms of blocking Morgana. I'm curious though. I mean, it's like our mana is a little bit fucked for the turn, right? We would really love to have 6 mana at this point. Oh, this is gonna be the big burn spell onto Morgana. Fuck. It's not game breaking, but I was really hoping we were gonna have that to. We were gonna have that life buffer here. I was a little aggressive with our health on the opponent's previous attack because I assumed that we were gonna be able to pick up a little bit of health off the Morgana. Again, like, this opposing deck doesn't play a ton in terms of burn spells, right? This is like He can. It's not like the days of the elephant to where they could just burn you for an extra like 6 damage off of the elephant coming down, but still kind of scary. Like with this bummer of a hand here, I kind of feel like we're stuck just playing champion strength. If he doesn't have any removal, this should be pretty strong. But he's gonna have at least one, it looks like. Takes down Badger Bear. Okay.
Something the matter?
The Zephyr heralds the squall.
What do we got now? More and more cataclysms. Ugh. I think we're probably dead at this point. His value's gonna be way too high.
Cast aside
Interesting.
fear. I am with you.
I mean, we do still have options here with overwhelm stances. And he's drawn an extra million cards. You forget about Janna being able to do this to you. All right, sure thing. That's tough. Like I'm curious if we should have just given a little bit more protection to Morgana. I forget what we spent our inner beast on. But we definitely played our only combat trick of the game onto the Morgana. And so I kind of like how that sequenced out, you know, as we're out here and he's just drawing a million cards. We're never going to outvalue him. We're going to have to come in and win the game at some point. But that was pretty tough. All right, moving on, though. We're on the even attacks, so I'm pretty okay with keeping a Snow Dog into Inquisitor opening. I think I want to keep one of these spells. Both of our units are fairly high value. The Snow Dog's going to have to deal with... it's going to have to deal with like hate spikes and 3/1s on the second turn, and so I think we'll hang on to the Inner Beast. I just kind of feel like we're going to have some opportunity to ram stance. So there's the fading icon. We'll trade the Inner Beast for him. That's fine. Oh, shit, hang on. No, we won't. I had in my head that we were making this 6-mana start of the Snow Dog into the Snow Dog into the Inner Beast. And I just kind of assumed, it's turn 2. We're good. Yeah, we're good to go. You can play my combat trick. I think it's okay. It's not the end of the world to have it fall, but that was certainly the intent for the turn. Having a basic understanding of the game can be pretty tough to do. Alright, here I wanted to take down the smaller unit. If he was going to play a hate spike onto our Inquisitor, I wanted to be able to Inner Beast out of it. Here we go, though.
Kip and I will scout ahead. Won't we, Kip?
Says, uh-oh, Bust coming at me with the zingers. People aren't supposed to have the AoEs in this spot. Alright, not bad, not bad. Now, the fresh questions, are we going to get ruinated here, right? We would like to just add the Hyara Alseer. It kind of feels like it, which is unfortunate. I think the question we have to kind of ask is, can we win on turn 8 against, like, Mordekaiser plays? That sounds pretty rough to me. I think we're going to have to get the Alseer going. We at least have a touch of recovery if we get ruinated this turn, but it doesn't feel good. Like, it's one of these spots to where the way the game should sequence is going to be like, he plays the Ruination, we have to pass, he plays Mordekaiser next turn, and then we at least get to Morgana Shackle Mordekaiser. But, just a Vengeance. Okay.
Back to the mountains.
Still costs 0? No, probably want to cast that. out here learning how my cards work. Do we want to put it on the Snow Dog, or do we probably want to put it on our, well, we have to assume that, like, pretty quickly the Inquisitor's gonna be challenging and not winning that combat, right? If he's challenging a Mordekaiser, he's gonna die. So let's just go ahead and slap it on the dog. Get that extra damage in while we're at it. See how it goes from there. Alright, I did the mathematics. That's not Mordekaiser.
Down from the cloud-touched mountain, I am here.
No one is beyond my reach.
Dude, making us making us play the suppressions before we get the chance to stance swap. It's kind of a bummer. Alright, well, let's load up the Inquisitor. If he's got the burn spell here, then that's kind of fine. Alright, so he gets to resuppress. Not a big deal. Now, the Mordekaiser here would be kind of a big deal. I'm leaning towards playing the suppression and then just kicking off with a Gentleman's Duel onto the Mageseeker Inquisitor. And then we do still have this kind of interesting space to where we can Inner Beast onto the Allseer and see where that takes us. If he plays Mordekaiser, we got to feel pretty safe at this point. Like hooking him out of combat and then putting Overwhelm onto the Allseer. I think I'm okay with this. So I'm going to send it off the Inquisitor. I don't want to cast it off of the Allseer and then have the Allseer get Vengeanced. That's just a day ruiner right there. Get all them stats off a Tough Boy over here. Tough Boy getting the job done. Stat boosts on this guy are so good. Look at this. Why are you so mad? Gritting them teeth. Yeah, it's like everybody's mad at him. Just a big cloud of maddos. Why does this guy got a bunch of eyeballs? Alright. Did we get him? Did we get the Udyr Rage Quit of the day? You gotta like that. You gotta like that, huh? Alright. GG. Alright, cool. Well, we got ourselves time for one more battle. The voice can hold up for an hour these days. It feels good. Welcome to 2024. The voice works for in excess of 20 minutes. Gotta appreciate that. Good stuff, though. I feel like we've hit on a lot of the topics I wanted to kind of mention with this deck and what it's capable of doing, getting all of the targets with the stances, getting boosted Inquisitors, just like all the stuff across the board just works out quite nicely. All right, the final battle of the day up against Karma Sett. That's what we got. We'll hang out on our cheap bros here. It's like I'm not certain with this match, like how greedy you're ever willing to be. In the sense of, will we like hang on to Udyr? Like he's a very challenging unit against Karma Sett. He just gets hit by concussive palm frequently. But it's like I'm not super excited about Broadwings here. They don't really do anything. But I think we want to hang on to the Vulpine Wanderer. It just seems like a very easy curve to fit Udyr in if we're going to hang on to the Wanderer as well. Let's keep it and see how it goes. Ooh, did get the big stat draw, though Karma Sett does not like it. If you're able to Omen Hawk and boost all of your stat-based plays, right? If you're trying to Mystic Shot and Aftershock a bunch of units down and they all have +2/+2, be a little bit more challenging to deal with. So with this, I'm just going to pass. I don't want our Snow Dog getting popped by a burn spell. That's right. As we roll into this turn, we're going to play the combat trick anyways, and so I would rather the burn spell be happening this turn, right? If you want to think about how the sequence is going to go, it's like, do you want the Snow Dog to get hit with Aftershock and then you just play Vulpine Wanderer on turn 3? Or would you prefer it to like roll into this turn and then get a little bit of protection with the Sky Splitter? I'm just on board with the Sky Splitter every time. It's got the stats now, Allseer.
Coin buys drink or news.
I've got both.
Allseer is kind of interesting in the sense that it's not terrible if he gets tagged out, right? It's a very challenging unit to deal with. In terms of burn spells, it's a very good tag out concussive palm target, but if you're hitting it with tag outs, we do get to recast it and get that free stance again. It's not a great deal in terms of mana, but it's not nothing.
Our ancient enemies are returning.
Then, young fox, lead us to their heart.
Lead us to their hearts, young fox. So this is one of these spaces, like, against Karma Sett, I'm usually pretty excited to just spread everything out. And so, as I'm kind of looking at this, I'd like to play the +2/+2 onto Vulpine Wanderer, just so that we have this really nice width of strong attackers. You just must have Stone Nothing in hand, huh? That can't feel good. Is this going to be Sett coming down now? If he plays Sett and we just get the Cataclysm, the game's got to be done, right?
May Janna's will be done through me.
Goes Mariam for mana. Okay. I feel you.
Hear my call, great spirits.
So I think it's okay at this point if Udyr dies. Oh, that's not going to be a way to take him down. Like, we do have the second one in hand, and we're still going to get a bunch of value out of him. We're pretty far away from getting the stances on him. Let's just send. I like it. He's got to block it with the Mixologist. We get a bunch of damage in. He's going to put the thing here in front of Snow Dog. I think this is all well and good. Now, I'm not entirely certain how these interactions work. Okay, I think we're square now. So, the thing that's awkward is you don't want to play your 0 mana stance when you have with the Allseer's stance thing, right? And so we should be able to play the Allseer. We'll get the fresh one in hand, and then we want to make sure that we play the one on the right, because the one on the left here still has that Udyr cost reduction attached to it. And so getting into the next turn, if we need to, we can still pay for the stance. So what's going to happen here is if we want to get the stance in hand from Udyr, right? If we play this Udyr, he's going to reduce the cost of this one again, essentially doing nothing. So we're going to want to cast the stance and then get Udyr on board after the fact. I think we still want to play him here. This Morgana doesn't quite do enough on this board. Let's keep doing this same stuff. Put the +2/+2 onto Vulpine Wanderer. Then we're going to look to Broadwing and Udyr. We could skip on playing Broadwing since we do have Cataclysm in hand. right? We do have 8 mana. I had to I had to stop and recalculate there, but I think she should be good. Just a nice bit of width we've developed here. With Udyr coming in now. We have used the All-Seer thing for the turn. We already played a stance. Concussive Palm and Unworthy Soul. Sure.
Not another step.
So we're getting there. A bit of work being done. Bit of work being done. Still haven't seen the likes of Sett pop up. Do have Morgana ready to go if he comes down. Ooh, champion strength. It's one of my favorite sayings in the game. Whoa, champion strength. I'm not certain if we're willing to just run it out. Like we're pretty far ahead. It's not like we're just gonna get zinged by doing it. Let's at least play a card. I don't think we can pass on the turn without spending some of this mana. It's too good of a pass for the opponent. So he plays the Shackles instead of letting them Sunken Temple away. That's pretty cool. Very low on mana now, though. Aftershocks Morgana. Okay, I mean, I think we're still safe at this point. It is an interesting, say, like, overwhelm with Udyr. Right, if he gets, say he gets Concussive Palmed in the middle of combat, we can still Cataclysm, but with our hand at this point, like, he has to do so much with what we're presenting, and then we still have the champion strength behind, like, I think this is okay, just to go ahead and start slamming. Don't need to get too clever with this one. He's just going to have to spend a bunch of mana, and then we can react appropriately afterwards. I don't want to do anything preemptively and give him the chance to play the perfect card.
Is it time?
Everybody's favorite card, Champions Strength. And that was enough to do it. GG. Nice set of battles for 2024. Let's pull this up, talk about it a little bit more. And so again, I think we got to hit on, you know, kind of a lot of the key points that I like with this deck. We didn't get to do some of the really big plays with like a Naka and Cataclysm or flipped Morgana and Cataclysm, but I think we hit on the things that I was really wanting to hit on, in the sense that the unit boosters with Morgana and Udyr and Mageseeker Inquisitor are all exceptionally strong. I do like this idea of either playing the Mageseeker Inquisitor with a deck that's very aggressive, or playing Mageseeker Inquisitor with units that take a bit of work, right? And Udyr certainly takes a bit of work to get on board and get active and get the stances developing and everything, but just that little bit of safety net that you get out of the suppression coming in develops these spots to where you either know Udyr is just 100% safe for this turn because your opponent can't cast spells, or what's more and more common is that they have to spend the mana on the Mageseeker Inquisitor, and then as you develop into another Udyr turn, they either get to play a unit or they get to play a spell, and they don't get to do both. And doing both is what you really need to be doing to kind of combat Udyr and his kind of vertical power, if you will. And so I think it's a very interesting mix of things kind of coming together there. Otherwise, still, you know, a bunch of synergies rolling through. We didn't do the regenerate onto Petricite Broadwing. We didn't see that come up, but I assure you that's quite a powerful thing to do. And otherwise, you know, remember your Ram stances. Everybody forgets it, and it is incredibly, incredibly strong. But nonetheless, good set of games. I had fun with that. I hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. So if everyone enjoyed the video, Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way, and you had a good time watching. This is Bustin'. We thank you for being here.